Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Raising Healthy Mothers. Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, this is fine. This is what I thought I'd want. This is what I asked for. This is what I've been building. And yet, something inside doesn't feel right anymore. This is the episode for the woman who's feeling that, who's quietly feeling that, who's thinking, I should be grateful. I've got what I wanted, but it's not right. It's for the one who built something solid. You've got the family, the job, the house, the routines, but now you find yourself asking, but where am I in all of this? You might not have the energy to burn it all down, and I don't think you should. I don't think you should start back over, but I think what you probably need is to accept who you want to be. And that's because you might be wondering if there's more of you. And today I want to talk about that and how nutrition can be that bridge between the exhaustion that you feel right now and the expansion that you want to feel. Like I said, you've done the hard yards. You're raising kids. Things are finally settling down. Maybe they're actually sleeping. Maybe your house doesn't feel like a complete rubbish tip all the time. Maybe you've actually got to the bottom of your laundry pile now. You're holding down your home, and maybe you've even started juggling a part-time job or even a side project that you've always thought about. But you might be feeling that you've outgrown the version of yourself who built this life, who had this vision in the first place. It's a bit like you're wearing a jumper that used to fit but now has somehow shrunk in the wash or got a bit bobbly. It just doesn't feel as comfortable as it used to. And you might notice things like you're feeling weirdly irritated by your daily routine. That maybe you keep daydreaming about disappearing into a cabin in the woods with just books and silence. Maybe you've been thinking about going on a retreat and thinking about signing up and going for a week alone just to yourself, but then don't really feel like you're worth it. Maybe you open Instagram and start following people who run online businesses or retrain and do something completely different. You think, could I do that? But then the moment passes because you're like, there's no way, I've got to stay practical here. This is the life that I have always envisaged. And then when you do get time to yourself, maybe you freeze. You're like, I don't know what to do. Should I clean the house? Should I tidy? Should I watch something? Should I read? Should I go for a walk? And then you end up just scrolling on your phone, or maybe you do tidy the house or do that declutter project that you kept promising yourself, or maybe you just collapse and binge watch Netflix. And your body might be shouting at you too. You might have bloating and headaches and brain fog. Maybe you find yourself crashing mid-afternoon, that 3 o'clock, reaching for that piece of chocolate that just keeps you going until after dinner time. Maybe you've got PMS that feels louder than it used to. Maybe you're thinking, oh yeah, well, I'm in my 40s now. It must be perimenopause. This is what I've been reading about on Instagram. Maybe I should start taking creatine and collagen and all those other things that people keep telling me to do. And maybe you're waking up more tired than when you actually went to sleep. And look, I know you are doing so much, but I know there is also something in you that is saying, this can't be it. There must be more. So why does this feel so hard? Because you're not doing anything wrong. I think you've just reached the edge of a version of you that used to work, that you thought would work in this sort of season of family life. And it's a bit scary because you don't know what can come next. Like, what is the vision? What is the next step? You know, you've sort of thrived on having the vision and the next step in mind in your 20s and 30s. And suddenly, you know, you're coming into your 40s and you're thinking, am I allowed to want more? Am I allowed to ask for more? But that's not the vision and the life that I thought I would want at this stage. And of course, because you're so tired, because everything feels so overwhelming, that next version of you feels really out of reach. And of course, it's not that you don't have dreams, like I know you do. It's that you can't access them from the place that you are in right now. And there's something that I see so often with the women that I work with, is that they have this quiet craving for something more, but they're almost afraid to say it out loud. They're almost afraid to admit that they have dreams of something more, you know, more meaning or more creativity in their work, more time to themselves that isn't just recovering from burnout, more clarity on what they even want. Because right now everything just feels busy and noisy. You're self-aware, thoughtful, ambitious in your own way, but you've also been so busy putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own for years. You've become so good at adapting that you've lost sight of what it actually feels like to be you, to have that ambition, to have those dreams, to have a vision of a new kind of life. You haven't done anything wrong. You've just spent so long in survival mode as a mother, and now your body and mind are saying, we want more. We want us. We want ourselves back. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, you're a nutritional therapist. Why are you talking about this? What does food have to do with any of this? Well, quite honestly, everything. Because if you want to make big shifts in your life, the kind that bring you back to yourself, you need steady energy, a calm brain, and a body that feels safe. Because think about it, when was the last time you sat down and had this vision of this life that you are currently living that is somehow actually not that fulfilling? It was probably before you had kids, when you did have steady energy, maybe you in your early 30s, when life was so much simpler, wasn't it? Things were calmer. You did have a brain that actually worked. And that isn't going to come from another planner or a new productivity hack or some kind of app that's going to organize your life for you. It comes from deep within, from nourishing yourself from deep within, so you can get that steady energy and that calm brain. And that's going to give you the focus and the drive to actually get something new done. Because food stabilizes your energy and your mood. When you have balanced blood sugars, you have way less up and down. You don't have this roller coaster of emotions and mood. You're not snapping. You're not breaking down at 3 o'clock in a complete fuzz of overwhelm and reaching for the chocolate. You've actually got your head steady when your blood sugars are steady. And that comes from when you have a balance of proteins and fat and fiber that gives your brain the fuel that it needs to actually work, not just a temporary buzz that you get from caffeine and chocolate and delicious pastries. When you eat regularly and consistently and nourishingly, your nervous system stops screaming, alert, 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 we're in danger, and actually starts to chill. And when it chills, when it relaxes, it gives way, it finds space for that ambition, those dreams that you have. You don't need to be more productive. You don't need to find more time in your day. You need to be properly fed. Nutrition also really helps to clear the fog in your brain that you're feeling right now. And that means that you can actually think again. Your brain and your nervous system needs good quality B vitamins, it needs omega-3 fats, and it needs iron for sharper thinking and better decision making, for more energy. And your gut health as well is really important to make sure that you have better moods, better sleep, and fewer crashes. Your gut is at the center of your health for everything. And that's why eating enough and eating regularly tells your brain, I am safe. I am not in a war zone. I can expand now. And that idea you have for a new project or a side hustle or whatever it is that you have brewing in there, it's not going to happen if your brain isn't nourished enough to come to life. And the other reason why I think nutrition is so important when it comes to this kind of bigger vision of the life that you want is that it helps to reconnect you to your body in a really kind way. Instead of seeing food as another thing that you have to get right, or that you've got to follow rules for, or you've got to do perfectly, you've got to do because it's going to help you with this symptom and that symptom and make you feel better in that way, or because you're doing it for your kids because you know that nutrition is so important for them. Instead of seeing it as another thing on your to-do list, you start seeing it as a way to come home to yourself, to nourish yourself, to nurture yourself. When you stop skipping meals or stop living off your toddler's scraps, your body stops feeling like a burden. It starts feeling like you're actually looking after it. Eating well consistently becomes a way for your body to hear the words, I matter. My needs matter too. When you feed yourself like someone who actually matters, you literally rewire your brain, and your brain starts believing it too. And this is so important because when your brain starts believing you matter, it starts believing that it can do more. It can reach a next level. It can get to that next step in the life that you're looking for. So what can you actually do about it? Okay, it's all very well saying, yes, nutrition is going to really help, but what can you actually do about it? Well, here are 3 micro shifts that I would love for you to try this week. You don't have to overhaul everything. You don't have to, have a complete meal plan written for you and 10,000 supplements and a whole gut health protocol. Actually, these 3 little steps that you can do, that you can start right away, are really going to help open that door back to yourself. So number 1, eat a proper lunch. I know you're eating at your desk and you might be maybe shoving a sandwich down your throat or just doing something really quickly. Look, let's eat a proper lunch. Leftovers are brilliant as long as it's fully nourished and balanced and got everything you need in there. Don't eat a flapjack and another coffee. Have a proper lunch, sat down with cutlery, maybe away from your desk if you can. A real plate of food that has protein and fat and fiber and lots of colour, an explosion of colour. That's exactly what your brain and your gut needs. This is going to stabilize your energy, see you right through the afternoon, stop that afternoon crash, and really keep you going physically and emotionally so you can face those challenges and get to the end of the day and feel great about yourself. Number 2, can you claim 15 minutes for yourself daily? Not to do chores, not to get the laundry done, not to check your emails, but for you. To sit, to walk, to write, to think, to give yourself the space for your brain to tick and think about you. And protect that time like it's sacred, because it is. Because when you have that sacred time for yourself, you can finally become and think about becoming the person that you want to be. And that is only a good thing for you and your family, because a fulfilled mum is going to be a way, way more patient, calm, and connected mum. And then number 3, feed the dream, not the doubt. Every time you feed yourself well, you're feeding the part of you that wants more. You're feeding the part of you that is going to believe in you. You're proving to your system that I can handle more. I am resourced. I have the capability to accept more in my life. And that's how you expand. That's how you reach that dream. That's how you get to where you want to be, not by doing more, but by fueling better. So if this resonates with you, if you've been nodding along all of this time, or if you've been thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't know I felt like that, but that hit the nail on the head, then I want you to know you don't have to figure it out alone. This is the work I do. This is the thing I love doing. I love meeting women who know they want more, but don't know how to get there. And I can help you with nutrition. I'm not just going to help you eat better, put a bit more broccoli on your plate. I'm going to help you come back to a rhythm that supports your body, your brain, and your next chapter, the next season of your life where you actually get to step into the person you want to be. We build steady energy, we lift the fog, and we help you start making decisions from a place of calm, clarity, not chaos, and not burnout. If that sounds like what you need right now, then please message me on Instagram or send me an email. I'm tasha@tashadecruz.com. You can head to the link in the show notes to follow up as well. And I would love to hear from you. Like I said, it's not just about food, it's about finding your way back to yourself. Thank you so much for listening in to this episode of Raising Healthy Mothers. I'd love to know if this resonated with you. Please let me know on Instagram, send me a message, and I'll be so happy to start that conversation with you. Bye for now.